Today what I wanted to do is give a little bit of a progress report on what I've been trying to do here, is make this radar adapter, the Valentine radar adapter. I wanted to, basically I made a video of the first test unit, and that worked fine, except it was big, and I want to show how big it was. And if you compare it to the new one is half the size. And I had originally thought I was going to use one of these GoPro type camera mounts, and what happened, that just turned out to be not flexible enough. Too flexible, in fact, not the opposite. And then what happened was I made an extra bracket that went on the other side of the bike. I made a much heavier duty bracket. It got a little bit better. Still wasn't what I wanted. Still wasn't close to being what I wanted. So this is the one that I just finished up today, took a quick test ride. Now, this is the part I'm not sure about. See, it mounts right on the gas tank. It shoots through the windshield. And I was very careful to make sure it is shooting through the windshield, not into the instrument panel. And it's still picking up pretty much the same as when I had it mounted out here. But I don't know if that's going to be the be-all, end-all, because, again, the original thought here was to have it removable from one bike to the other. Now, what has happened in the meantime is I've really come to a couple of conclusions. Number one, the Velcro is okay to hold this to the box. That's fine. But I was using Velcro to hold it to the tank, not strong enough, and every time you'd hit a bump it would wiggle. Well, now it's nice and strong. So the other thing is I didn't want it, when it was sitting out here, it was distracting to me. I usually have the camera mounted there. So what I did, I wanted to have it that it was comfortable to me when I'm sitting on the motorcycle. This was one of the criteria I had when I started this. I didn't want to see wires all over the bike. I've seen some of them that have wires, and it was just distracting to me. I wanted to conceal the wires as much as possible. On an R1, they can just go right up under the tank. It's very neat and convenient. And of course, having this up here. Now, I also know the next part of this test is I need to know if this is going to be mounted here permanently. I'm going to be real happy with it. Or if I'm not, I can make another bracket and mount it up here where the camera mounts, and then mount the camera somewhere else. But the reason I was doing it is several other people I know are working on developing something similar to this. The idea is if you have more than, here's the problem, if you have more than one motorcycle, every bike needs a custom bracket of some kind. And then if you have the screamer mounted permanently or the switch mounted to the handlebars, by the time you move all these wires, the problem is it's going to be inconvenient, and the day's going to come when you say, I'm just too lazy to do it, and that's the day you'll get caught. And that's always the way life is. But I think this is really step two. This is the second one I made. I'm very, very happy with that so far. When I was test riding it, the view from riding the motorcycle it's right where you want it. It's perfect. Now, the only other thing, if I find out I'm losing some reception by going through the windshield, I can take that part of the unit off. It's a separate wire. Just run it over to the camera mount or run it to the side where I have a bracket that comes off the fairing. But the idea of this video is just to give people some food for thought, just some ideas. And I'm thankful to everybody that posts up these ideas they have, because I hope in the future to have this as part of my riding equipment on almost every ride. And this is actually the view from when you're sitting on the motorcycle. This is what it looks like. Also, another thing I'm thinking about, since I've been able to cut the box down basically in half, I know as soon as I make a final commitment on some of these things, I can shorten up these wires even more. I didn't want to make them so short that if I find out I have to move things around, it would be a problem. And I found these great connectors in Lowe's that you just plug the two wires in, pinch it, and it's done. And it's worked fine. And what I did, my little, since I'm not an electronics guy, what I did that was very, very convenient is I took my test battery downstairs, plugged in the unit. See, the unit just comes right off the bike. With it, in this case, one screw holds it onto the bike. one screw. The whole unit, it's Velcroed. There's just Velcro back here, but it's not holding anything. It's just keeping it from moving around. And I didn't have to drill any holes in a motorcycle. That was one of the things I wanted to have. But to be able to get that one screw out, pick this whole unit up, and then move it to one of the other motorcycles. Now, Vlad was here this afternoon, and he told me, and I don't know if they make this, maybe somebody can email me if they know where to buy this. They make a thing that goes on the gas cap that holds a radar detector or the camera. But if I can't find one, I can make one. That's no problem. But on this bike, I think that'll fit real nice. On the Ninja, may need a bracket facing up, but I'm not sure about that windshield. Again, I don't know. This bike's going to be a whole unique thing. But I look forward to these challenges. And that bike, of course, will be very easy to mount it right. Get that. If I can't find it, I'll make one from a stop sign at a bracket that'll go right around there. But so far, that is the progress report for today. It was really cold out here in the garage. Didn't really lose a riding day. But I think that will give people some food for thought. And that's the whole idea of the videos. And so now each bike has two these charging stations, because one I can plug, this is the radar detector, the other one I can plug in my electric vest or charge the battery or whatever. And just as I guess just out of habit, I just disconnect this when it's sitting in the garage. No reason not to leave it wired. But if I only had one motorcycle, I could have run a permanent wire up here and you would see no wires. That was one of my things. I just did not want to see the wires. And this worked out for the second one. Now, I know from developing other things for machine shops and whatever, I know the next time I build a unit, and I will make other ones, I'll cut this down by 1/3. This is going to get small, because as I get rid of those extra wires, the other little unit that you have with this, see, you don't need a switch to turn the screamer on and off. This turns the screamer on and off. So I just leave it, instead of having a switch, it's permanently wired on. If I want to shut it off, I just shut it off. The other thing that has the sound adjustment, I just put it at max volume and bury it in a box. 4 little 440 Allen screws. This whole thing comes off. I can service it. I can take it off the bike, take it downstairs, service it. The only thing I'm looking at is I'm hoping sooner or later I'll try to make this a little bit, and we'll get another cold day and I'll work on this. Make it a little bit smaller. A little, but the main thing is that this is really nice and rigid now. That's what I wanted. The Velcro didn't work out. The Velcro was letting this float around like it was, and it didn't come off. It just didn't look, I don't know, it was distracting when you were riding a bike. And as cold as it was today, I did get a very short test ride. Went around a block, went past the police station, the thing went crazy. I guess they have 10 radar detectors in the police station. I don't know. Our local town now has Humvees. They got these military reject Humvees painted up like police cars. I don't know. They're out to get us. That, I think, is going to work. And it's a lot less obnoxious looking on the motorcycle. But to be honest, I don't care what it looks like. As a cop's writing you out a ticket, that thing is going to look better and better and better and better. And boy, we are living in Radar City here. Once you have a radar detector, you realize how many radar things there are as you go up and down Route 17 and whatever. Anyway, just some thoughts. I'm going to keep working on one bike at a time. I'll try to make a little 4 or 5 minute video of each one. And anybody that's got any better ideas, or the idea I would like to have is they make this gas cap mount. Maybe that Luciano or somebody can find that for me, and it'll just be easier than making this. Just save me couple hours of making the brackets. Anyway, nothing expensive here. It's a wooden box, 440 screws, piece of aluminum from Lowe's, some paint. I actually did put a nice finish on both of the boxes. Even this box, which I think of how big this one was and how big that one is. So that's step 2, was one giant leap forward for mankind. And the last thing will be to see if we're losing any resolution by it going through that windshield or not. And I don't know if it will when I get out into the park as soon as it warms up in the near future. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we are right in the middle of starting our restoration season. I've already got Vlad's first bike into the shop here. So again, thanks for watching.